Hello everyone, welcome to the Friday afternoon news show. We have Mr. Grey alongside me, not the guy from 50 Shades of Grey, but certainly going grey watching this team, Adam. How are we?
Oh, and geez, yeah, there's a lot more greys anyway this season, and I suppose last season than there has been before that.
Yeah.
But no, I'm having a good time so far. It can quickly change though tomorrow, can't it? Well, I suppose what time? Maybe around 5 o'clock tomorrow. It can quickly change.
Oh yeah.
But how are you doing?
To be honest, we're not going into like optimism, are we? I think a lot of us are realistic about the situation that's going on with Manchester United. So we've got to play our expectations down just a little bit. But yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about the obviously the Brentford game and all the updates surrounding it, including Ugarte, Kobbie Mainoo. There's a couple of others as well. We're going to talk about Evans Dalot and Johnny Evans interview, links back with Sesko, Golden Boy nominations, and then if we've got time, Erik ten Hag's press conferences is at 1:30, but usually the quotes come out around 1 o'clock. So we'll dive into those and we'll try and get quite literally the updates. And I'm sure they're going to ask him about like Ferguson and all that kind of situation. So yeah, jam-packed show. Please do smash a like on the video and get involved in the comments section, and we'll go to that very, very shortly. But the headline with the Brentford latest, Adam, Mazraoui pictured back in training. It was an exclusive on this a couple of days ago. I think it was from United Faithful, and everyone was saying he was absolutely mad and bonkers and all this kind of stuff. And it seems like, yeah, he's back in training, he's ready to go. So that's obviously a plus. Manuel Ugarte could only participate in light training due to a thigh injury sustained whilst he was with Uruguay. So that's touch and go. I doubt he'll start. And as we know, with Kobbie Mainoo will miss United's next 7 games due to a hamstring injury. So, yeah, what kind of team are you piecing together going into this Brentford game? Because obviously we did the preview yesterday. But I want to get your thoughts on that.
Whatever's left at this point, isn't it? We don't have much options. I suppose it's going to be a bit of nearly a mismatch in midfield. There's not going to be as much balance. But the only positive is if we can actually, with Eriksen in the team this season, he seems to be finding a red hot streak. He's popping up with a goal or an assist every now and then, particularly the assist. So I suppose, given his form, he might contribute going forward. It's just about, can we actually put the ball in the back of the net? Because we always seem to concede as well. But it's pretty much who's left over. You're looking at probably, Bruno, Eriksen and Casemiro. That's going to be the midfield. That's the one to expect.
Well, that was the midfield against Aston Villa as well, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Now, to be fair, they've done a wee bit better than I would have anticipated, but
very pragmatic, though.
I was hoping for someone like Ugarte in this game. Hopefully he would have gotten a run, but with the thigh injury, obviously it's not as serious as I'm sure we've been led to believe. But it could be a case of sorry, I don't know what I've done. I'm after pressing a button on my headphones.
He's had a brain fart. Do you know what you've done? It's like, that's what you just said. You press the button and it's gone, right, close off my brain. And then you have to press it on again and you're like, oh my God. But yeah, you speak about Ugarte maybe being pivotal in this game and the way they're going to structure the midfield, and it was a little bit better against Aston Villa.
Yeah. It was much better, it was. I suppose... will we see him coming on later in the game? But obviously, I want people to start the game and I want them to finish the game.
Yeah.
Because we need as much, I suppose, balance from the start. But we aren't going to see that, I don't think. I think it's going to be... We've played Brentford a good bit and we know what to expect from them with a Thomas Frank team at this, I suppose, stage. They are difficult to play against.
Yeah.
And that's credit to him. They're a really difficult team. They have some very, very, I suppose, dangerous players. And just given the midfield, I'm not fully confident as I usually will be, and I won't mind it's Brentford that we're playing against, and here we are not fully confident, which kind of says everything how we are this season. So I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as I suppose some people think.
Yeah. What have you made? Because obviously international break's one of those where I personally don't really watch England. 1, because Lee Carsley was in charge, and 2, just because I've lost all hope. And I don't know if you're the same with Ireland, but it gives you a bit of time to kind of reflect on the first part of the season. What have you made of the new signings so far?
Well, I kind of said everything, wasn't it? The Villa game we had something like, was it 200-300 million on the bench?
Yeah,
sitting.
400.
And those are players season, 400 million, and that's his signings too.
Yeah.
We are at the stage now, like they're his signings, it's his team. You're hoping it would have taken some form of shape, but it hasn't.
Yeah.
they haven't lit up, I suppose, the way we thought they would. Like Xerxes, maybe he's been underused. He's been a bit unlucky as well, but that's been the story of the last 2 years. Just unlucky at certain times. It has been, and like you can play. It happened with Hoyland at the start. I remember he just couldn't score a goal, and eventually he got through a period where I think he scored like 7-8 games in a row or something like that. Then, yeah. So you're hoping something like that can break for him. Ugarte, he hasn't really played at all. It's weird how the manager doesn't seem to fit. It has surprised me because midfield has been one of the biggest concerns as well last season, and it's just shocks me because the sort of player he is, that sort of energy. I know it's not a direct comparison, but he has that energy like Fred has. He'd run for the 90 minutes, and I'm surprised Erik ten Hag hasn't used him because when he did come in, he used Fred quite a bit. Yeah, and then you're obviously the centre half.
There was a quote from the manager, wasn't there, that said it's going to take him a bit of time to get used to the team and blah, blah, blah. And I think a lot of people took that face value as like, oh, he's not fit enough. But I think actually Ten Hag meant more about rhythm and tempo and getting used to the team and what kind of instructions that he wants carried out on the pitch. Because I did think when he has played, he looked a little bit like a fish out of water because he wasn't used to like the system and the setup, which most players do under Erik ten Hag. Let's be clear about that. But yeah, he hasn't. We need him to hit the ground. If you're going to go and spend 50 million quid on a midfielder, you need him to start in the ground, really, don't you?
You got it for that price, especially these days. He's come from PSG, so he's played for a big enough team as well. You're thinking, okay, this guy's going to walk into the midfield. But it hasn't been the case. And fair play to some players like Eriksen who have actually stepped up this season a bit more than they have in the past. But yeah, he hasn't lit up the place the way I thought he would because I was excited about the signing. But here we are, a few games into the season, and look at the position we're in.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone else feels the same as well. Everyone who's just joining us, please do smash like the video and subscribe to the channel. Richard in the chat saying it'd be good if Mazraoui's back. We're going to touch on that. An outstanding 36-year-old left back. Dan saying maybe try get Hoyland and Xerxes in the same 11 to try get more goals. Bruno and Cass holding with Xerxes in the 10. That'd be nice, but I think we always reply that with, I don't think Erik ten Hag's going to do that because he's just too stubborn with his tactics.
No.
But yeah, obviously
the way the game's gone as well. You can't play a 4-4-2 or anything because everything's countered out. Everyone seems to play that 4-2-3-1. So everyone just sticks to that. And how you counter it is by playing the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it goes. I miss the days of two strikers and right and left wingers who would actually defend as well. That was part of their job as well.
Yeah.
Like football, it seemed a lot more entertaining back then than it does now. It seems very over tactical now, and I blame Pep for all that.
Yeah. There was a quote, wasn't there, didn't a player come out and say it? Varane, I think it was, who came out and said like a similar thing. He was like, there's far less creative geniuses in the game nowadays. It's more like a fitness kind of structured routines and patterns. And it's been dragged that way because of people like Pep Guardiola in the way he plays. But the days of your Ronaldinhos and your Berbatovs and these kind of players you just love to watch, and I think that has gone, and it's a shame really. I hope it comes back because I even saw a clip before. The intro for Match of the Day is at YouTube, Beautiful Day, like Premier League. You've seen all these players from like your childhood, and like that's the kind of football that I love. That I get like a feeling from. I watch it nowadays, and I'm like, it's still good to watch, but I don't know. There's something missing from it, isn't there?
There is, yeah. It feels like it's almost like the character's gone. It's like the soul is gone, I suppose. And it feels robotic at times. And like I miss the days. Like I had a game recorded on our old Skybox. It was the Champions League game against Arsenal from I think 2008. And I remember looking at parts of it and the counter attack, like the way we were countering, everyone just ran.
Yeah,
just ran,
Brune,
and they overwhelmed.
Dumph.
Yeah. Oh, it was a different game back then, and it's sad because I see us now when we pick up the ball and we're not running forward. We're not quick enough. It's just sideways.
Yeah. It's missing a lot. I want to get on to Diego Dalot's comments because he's done an interview as well as Johnny Evans as well. So we'll bring it back and change gears slightly. if you want to be at the highest level of football, you have to be prepared for that. I've been fortunate enough to have been through every stage at the club, playing, being injured, not being selected by the manager, and then playing every game. I've been in every stage possible. That's a football player that can be at this period in time, which brings me these experiences and helps me to know sometimes how some of my teammates are feeling when things are not going so well. I think it's something that comes when you've been with the club for so long. You start looking at the club a bit more than just as a player, than just something you're working for, and that's the way I like to approach things. Has he shown enough to be a permanent player in the team for you?
Well, he keeps, I suppose, playing him at left back, and he's not a left back, and it seems to have exposed him a lot more. But I don't fully blame him. He's a right back, and I'd like to see him play in right back. But the sad reality is we don't have left full back at the moment, so he has to fill in there. Like, he can do an all right job, but if we're being, and he's not a Dennis Irwin type of player who can play either side like exceptionally well.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, like the consistency, particularly, he's been the best of a worse bunch at times. So for me, I think he has shown a bit of character in that he could be a regular, I suppose, starter, one of the first few names on the sheet. But I'd like to see him more played at right back.
Is there a case of, because he's not had enough players pushing him because of the injuries that we've had over the past, let's call it 18 months to 2 years, what have you? Is there a case of, like Luke Shaw when he went stale with Tellez, not before he came in, and he was like, because no one's pushing him, he's not hitting those levels. Does Dalot need that competition? Because if he moves back over to right back, you might have that with Mazraoui in it, but it's getting a left back that's fit enough.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it was Patrice Evra ended up saying that you get the best out of yourself when you have competition, because you want to prove to the manager that I'm the better of the two, and it brings out the best of two players. And like, competition is good. Healthy competition is really, really good, because once one player, I suppose, his levels drop, you can bring in the other who will take over from that. And for so long we haven't had that. We only have two fullbacks, and there are two right fullbacks, and he's been deployed on that left side. As you pointed out, Luke Shaw, those seasons ago, when Tellez came in. I remember Tellez had a good spell as well. Luke Shaw went out of the team. But we've seen the best of Luke Shaw when he had competition. And I think you might see the best from Dalot as well. He has a good age profile as well. So like, he hasn't hit his prime yet. What age is he? Is he 24? Something like that? A little bit
older, 25, I think he is.
25, okay.
Yeah.
So you're looking maybe in the next 2 years, 3 years, he's prime. It should be. So he can improve. There's like plenty of areas in his game he can improve. But he just needs to play on the right, and once we have full back on the left side, I suppose you might see better of him, because we can drop him if he's not playing that well. And there has been periods where he hasn't been playing well, but I don't put the full blame down to him. It's just not having a left back at times.
Yeah. And going into this Brentford game, we have the same issue, but I don't know if Mazraoui is not available to play a full 90, which I don't know, his touch and goal, because he is in training, but with the situation, do you want to rush that kind of thing back when you've had, it's been like I don't even know what he's had. He said it was like a minor heart kind of situation. Yeah. But then how can you have a minor heart situation and be back in training within like 2 weeks' time? I find that a bit mad, to be honest. Odd. Yeah, like, what, has he had a surgical procedure? Because if so, surely that would take longer than 2 weeks, right? Bringing him back. But now he's in training.
I suppose, and these are the sort of questions you'd like to think that journalists would ask. Erik Ten Hag, but will we get that? We might see probably in the next half hour. It takes weeks. It does, and you can't rush that. So I think we're just looking for clarity. It doesn't fill me with confidence either.
I was just about to say, don't fill me with confidence. Just double checking the stream's still live. Can you still hear me and stuff, Adam? Yeah. Oh, reconnected.
I can still hear you.
It just says that OBS just said disconnected there. So if it does jump for anyone, apologies about that. But I think we're all right. But yeah, if Mazraoui is not available, the rumor is, Adam, that Johnny Evans might be playing at left back, which is not what you wanted to hear when you're at this stage through the season, 2024, Manchester United. But he has been one of our better players. He's been speaking to, I think it's Melissa Reddy with Sky, and he's been saying fans know football. They can see it when they watch a game. I hope they're getting the sense that everyone's fighting and doing everything they can to win a game of football, because there's no doubt if the supporters didn't feel that, they'd let the players know. I feel like defensively we've improved, and hopefully in order to win games, you have to be good defensively. And on the flip side of that, then there is more goals and adding to that part to our game. Like I said, there's no longevity playing Johnny Evans, Adam, but arguably right now, he's our best defender, isn't
he? You didn't think we'd be saying that, would you? Ever, I suppose. Like, crazy, especially given who we brought in. We brought in Matthijs de Ligt and we brought in Lenny Yoro. Obviously, Lenny Yoro's out injured, hopefully back soon. But I've been a bit underwhelmed by what's happened.
Underwhelmed?
I have been underwhelmed at times. Like, I've seen the strengths, but was it what game was it? The Villa game? No, what game was that? I'm trying to Porto.
Him and Lissandro against Porto. Terrible.
The two of them were actually awful. And I have full respect for the manager changing it completely then at the weekend. That needed to happen.
Because a lot of people before the game, Adam, were like, what the fuck is he doing? What, Maguire and Evans, what's going on? Like, loads when I was in the chat live, everyone was saying, what the fuck is he doing? But them two, before Maguire went off injured, obviously, played a lot better, didn't they?
They did. They were solid. And this is the thing, as we talked about healthy competition. When you look on paper, you're thinking Lissandro and de Ligt, they're your starting centre-halves. But then you have the two kind of hiding in the shadows behind them, ready to pounce. And Maguire, like, for all the slagging he's got for years, like, he steps up, he does. And he steps up for England as well, he does. Fair play to them as well. And people mock him, all this, and I know I'm guilty at times as well, but I have to respect it, I do. And it's a shame about the injury, because I'd actually start him in the next game had he, not picked up that injury. Well, Johnny Evans, I know, is the topic that we're on about. I'd start him as well going into this game now, particularly at Old Trafford. You're kind of thinking, okay, a bit, we're at home. I know it hasn't really felt like home at times, but you'd have a bit more, I suppose, stability you'd like to think at home. So maybe it's not as much of a risk. But currently he's our best centre-half, and you have to play your best centre-half. For me, it doesn't matter who you are. You can be dropped if you're not playing good enough. And the manager, he hasn't always showed that, but he seems to be showing it now. So I'd like to see a few changes if someone's not playing the best. Although the whole Rashford thing with Porto, I don't know what that was. Yeah, so.
The irritating thing is they've spent, like, Lissandro and de Ligt together are probably worth, that's £100 million defensive partnership. And if you can't trust them in games like that, what's the point of bringing them in? I know they play bad, and I know you need to rotate, but I also think centre backs need consistency as well. So it's kind of a fine line to tread in that sense, isn't it?
It is. And one thing I did like when Lissandro and Varane played, they seemed to complement each other well. So maybe it's just taking a bit of time for that partnership to develop. It could be a case of that. I'm hoping it's a case of that. And I hope we actually... You see, for me, Varane didn't have much pace, but he was his positional play was quite well.
Quick.
I didn't think he was... I'm not saying he was slow, as much as Maguire. I don't think de Ligt is as slow as people are going to make out as well.
No.
But it's a case, can you play that high line? Exactly, from what I've seen at the Porto game, I was...
At Saliba, Adam, Van de Ven.
Yeah.
These kind of players, like 1v1, they'll beat the majority of players. Van Dijk as well. They'll push them off strength-wise. They'll beat them for pace. I look at Lissandro. I look at de Ligt. I don't know if they have that full package.
No, they don't. It seems like you're hoping Lissandro's a bit more muscle and the muscle that de Ligt has, and then you're hoping de Ligt has that more positional play that Lissandro has.
Yeah.
If you mold the two together, maybe add a new pair of legs, you might have
How many times we've said that about McFred, didn't we? If we've got McTominay and Fred, like polymerization, put Dalot and Wan-Bissaka together, amazing. Said that so many times, but I just think, like, why bring in de Ligt? Why put so much faith into him, and then after one game, but then because it's flippant, because with Rashford, you trust him for so long when he's playing bad, and keep playing him, and then when he plays good, you take him off. It doesn't make sense. It's
Doesn't make
bad
sense.
man management,
No.
bad player management.
It is. I don't know if it's a case of something else happened that day. I can't think of any other reason why he'd take him out of that game. It doesn't. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Like, we were all saying, "Oh, injury. That's fine. Oh, that's a shame," because he was playing really, really well. And then when it came out, I think we were on a live, were we, a review, and it came out that he was rotational play. We were like, "What?"
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, like the manager at times. I am losing faith. I think he probably should have went. I didn't think Tuchel would be taking over from England. Will be taking the England job. I was hoping he'd be taking the United job.
Yeah.
And like, it's a weird thing. Like, in a month's time, if things don't improve, Ineos do let him go. You've missed an opportunity there.
Yeah. Well, they've made a bold decision now, exactly like you say. They've got
Mm-hmm.
they've got to either stick with him or go with Ruud interim, because I don't see any other candidate in reality coming in at this point. And I think the ones who are currently in a job, I think it's going to be very difficult to get them out there. Imagine getting beat by Brentford now and then going back to him in a week later saying, "Oh, can we have your manager? Can we have Thomas Frank to manage the club?" And they're like, "Yeah, if you pay us, 10, 15 million quid, mate."
Yeah.
You're talking that we're just about to go into a Christmas period, very busy. You're going to destroy the whole kind of structure of our season. You're going to have to pay a lot of money, and then you have to pay 15 million equally to sack Erik ten Hag. So I just don't see him doing. A couple of people
30 million there, neither.
About the audio in the chat. Hopefully it sorted itself out now. If it was breaking up before, do let us know, please, any feedback, and I'll try to sort it out. But it's coming across fine on my end. Don't know why there's some technical issues, but yeah. Anyway, we'll get back into it. We're going to go from defence to attack, Adam, because there's been some links with Benjamin Sesko again, coming out from multiple decent journalists. I'd say relatively decent, not tier 1s, but tier 2s. Let's just say. You look at the strikers dynamic at the moment with Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee. Doesn't seem like there's enough goals. I know there's been injuries. I know Xerxes a new signing. Is Sesko someone we need, or should you not go for more of an experienced figure, do you think?
You've hit the nail on the head there. I've said it for a while. We've gotten rid of so much experienced strikers over the last, I suppose, couple of years we have. Ronaldo obviously going, Cavani. These are the sort of players that teach these younger strikers, as well in training, and they're watching these players, and they just haven't had that. They haven't. So we're relying on two youngsters we are up front. And if we're being honest, you look at all, I suppose, okay, City have, I suppose, a robot up front and that, but like all the top teams have.
Oh. Have we lost Adam? I checked that frame he's on as well. Oh, it looks like he's just seen a ghost. Where's he gone? I mean,
Am I alive?
Wait, I think I can hear you. You're slowly coming back. You're slowly coming back. Right.
I look so surprised.
Yeah, I just said that frame you paused on, then you was like,
yeah.
Like, sorry, go on. Continue your point.
I don't know how far I got there, but I was just saying, like, all the top teams have a top striker. Yeah. We currently don't have that. We have two youngsters right now, and we're just missing that experience. So bringing in Sesko, who's relatively young, I don't think is the correct decision. I know he's that sort of player. Chelsea have shown interest. Arsenal have shown interest. He's physical. I suppose he's good on 2 feet. He's a bit quick as well. But is he what we need right now? We need experience, and there isn't much experience out there right now. So the striker market isn't, we said it for the last few years, it isn't the healthiest right now. It isn't. There's no standout candidate, you're thinking. And we need someone to come in and just score goals. I think that's one of the missing parts. You've seen what a Van Persie can do coming into a team. Yeah. Like, they can make the difference. Goals win games. And I know the whole... I suppose quote is defense wins titles then. Yeah. But if we're not scoring goals, we can't win games.
That's the thing. If you look at our defensive record, we've got the most clean sheets in the league at the minute, which I was absolutely astonished by the way. So if you do start scoring goals and you're like, right, we've got something cooking there, because you look at the expected goals as well, we're right up there. I know that can be manipulated and stuff, but what they've said is if they converted the chances that they should have done, they would be near top 4 right now. That's like what's been said. So if you bring in a seasoned striker who's just a bagsman, it's we might not be in such a bad situation. But the question is, I'll leave this one to the chat and then we'll get into the Golden Boy nominations. Give me an experienced striker who we can go and get right now in Europe. because it's tricky, especially how do you say to a club who's got a decent striker, you go, right, do you want to come to United, who are currently in 14th? They've got 2 draws in the first 2 games in Europa League. Like, it seems like a sinking ship under Ten Hag at the moment. It's not the most attractive spot to go, even though it is United. Yeah. It's not the most attractive place to go to. There's plenty of other clubs with higher ambitions, like Aston Villa, for example, at the moment, back into the Champions League. Unai Emery, fantastic coach. You know the system to set up, the players that are there. So yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky one, but I'll leave that to the chat. Sam saying, who's that Irish lad on the right? It's someone I saw on the street. Said he was a United fan, so said he'll come on. So this is him. Onto the Golden Boy nominations, Adam. So this is the list. A couple you might recognise a few familiar names in here. So Lamal, Neves,
looking for the pronunciation.
Zaire, Garnacho, Kabassi, Savio, Rico Lewis, Pavlovic, Mainoo, Heitu, Yoro, Bind Gittens, Yildiz, Mosquera, Wharton, Gillette, Tell, Desai Due, Gluck, and Omarodian. I think that's Sammy, who played against us for Porto, I believe. So only 2 of them that are butchered. But obviously Garnacho, Mainoo, and Yoro all in there. Expectations for them. Obviously Mainoo's out with an injury at the moment. But do you think we overrate them too much, or we got the balance with them?
I suppose if you're good enough, you're old enough, as the saying, and I'd like to have seen Garnacho play a bit more this season than he has. I don't know why, considering the goal contributions he has shown as well. Like, I think he's a decent record this season. So I'm a bit confused there with the kind of rotational stuff that the manager's doing. But to have 3 players on that list is quite decent. There's one of them that we've only seen, I think, once in the United shirt, and it was in the US.
Looks all right, though, didn't it?
Oh, he did for those couple of minutes. He did get to play. I think it's someone that we need right now as well, given the instability.
Can I make a bold claim about Yoro? I think he'll be a starter for us, and I think him alongside Lissandro would look a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and people have tipped Yoro to be that kind of next Varane as well. Yep. So hopefully it's the passing of the torch, and we've got caught onto it early. Like, there's no way Real Madrid are, I suppose, interested in someone, and they don't just show interest in anyone. They don't. When they show interest, it's genuine interest, and so they see something as well. Just unlucky with the whole injury. He's back soon anyway, I believe.
He's back. So I think he's back. He's back training the end of this month, and then should be available in November. I'm guessing either probably after the international break we're looking at, but. Yeah, it seems like, it sounds mad to say because he's an 18-year-old kid, but we need him in that back line, don't we?
We do. And it's a shame that, I suppose, he's going to come into with all this pressure, but you don't join Manchester United and not expect pressure. Like, Phil Jones had an interview there with Rio, and he was like talking about the weight of the shirt and Di Maria. And people were like in the comment section, taking the piss to her, saying, "Oh, he just came from Real Madrid. It's a heavy shirt. Champions League final man of the match." But like, I know Real Madrid, big, massive club, but the media attention that Manchester United get, and it seems like everyone loves when United are not doing well, because they know it gets clicks, it gets interactions. So everyone's hoping, and like, obviously rival fans. So the pressure that Manchester United players are under, I think it's more pressure than anyone and any other team can have. Like, it seems like Barcelona have like almost like a weight off their shoulders, even when they're not doing well. But all the media attention is on Manchester United. So will he feel that? I hope he doesn't. I hope he comes in naturally. He just hits the ground running. But it's a sad reality that we're hoping and banking on this 18-year-old to come in and actually hit the ground running.
Yeah.
So to have someone like that is obviously a good option. It's why we spent the top big bucks on him, I suppose. So hopefully it delivers, because the rest of the signings this season, I suppose, haven't really hit the ground running.
Me and Sam were speaking about Mainoo on Wednesday night when we did the late night live. And we both was kind of saying that it doesn't feel like he's had the best start to the season. Like, I know, like, the underlying stats and metrics, they all look great, but I'm talking about the eye test. From when I've watched him,
eye test,
I don't know if he's looked as good as he did last season. And obviously it's come out now that he's got this kind of hamstring injury. Has he been overplayed and pushed too much?
Oh, without a doubt. He was rushed back in for the Villa game, and look what's happened as a result of that. So, like, I'm not, he's at, what, 19 now?
Yeah.
19-year-old, and the amount of distance particularly he covers in midfield as well. Like, I'm sure you can get all the stats, like the distance covered per 90, all this. He's a youngster. You don't want to burn these players out, you don't. And I see like that argument with rotation, but the sad reality is he's our best midfielder and he looks the most experienced. But you pointed out that he hasn't looked as good, and I've noticed that as well. And I think that's just from all the minutes he's playing. And he's just, I think, tired. So he's tired. So maybe it can be a blessing in disguise that he can get a bit of rest, but I know he's carrying that injury. So I'm hoping he can be recovered soon.
Well, that falls on Ugarte as well, doesn't it? Because we brought him in to be the legs and to put fires out in that midfield. And when he's not playing in there, the demands on Kobe, the tactical demands on Kobe, it's just not sustainable. Not sustainable at all. And for a kid at 19 at the minute to pick it up near the start of the season, you could think, oh, fucking hell, what's going to be like when he's 25, 26 if he's continuing playing in this kind of setup? That's why I'm annoyed at the way it's been managed and the way he's been managed. And again, does that not come down to the manager with individual players knowing when to rotate, knowing when? Do you know what I mean? It feels a bit, I don't know, just frustrated is the best word I can use with it.
The only thing is he got thrown in there into the first team when there was an injury. That's and he seemed to just perform to a high level, and he hasn't. I suppose it's one of the first few names on the team sheet. So I can see that side from the manager. You play your best players, but at the end of the day, you have to remember he's only 19.
It's crazy. Garnacho as well. You look at the minutes that he had last season.
Yeah.
I think he played, was it like 2,900 minutes I read somewhere or something, like ridiculous. And you think about the work that Ten Hag demands from the wingers on that side, bombing up and down, constant transitions, direct. And Garnacho will be that guy, he will be that threat. But even, I think he looks a little bit burnt out, a little bit. I think the Villa game, I don't know if you remember his individual performance, but I was fucking pulling my hair out watching him because he's snatching at things, he's being a bit rash in situations. I'm just like, I like Garnacho, but if you continue to play these young talents like this, I think you will destroy their confidence and you will destroy their ability.
Yeah, that's true. Sir Alex Ferguson was the best at doing it. He knew when to take someone out, when to put someone in, and he'd surprise the world and throw a youngster in every now and then. And he done it from a perspective of, okay, he's ready, and then like he wouldn't destroy the confidence in these players if they were playing bad as well. He'd kind of just take them out of the light for a while. Particularly the media attention these days. I know they didn't have to deal with it back then as much, but I don't like the way the game has kind of gone, particularly for youngsters, because they feel like they've made it when they have their first big contract as well. And I'm hoping that Ineos can, I suppose, change that. You reward players for good performances with better contracts. But I've said it for years now. It feels like players come here or they come through the academy, they get a first big deal, and after performing to a high level, and they have a massive contract, could be earning upwards of $100,000 a week. And they think they've made it. And then look what happens when they have that attitude and we try and ship them off. We're only selling them for 2 pence. We can't sell them for anything. And that's because of the big contract that they're on. So there's a mix of different things. Fitness, I know they're young, they're quite fit. They've come through the academy. That's fair enough. But when you're playing people for nearly 3,000 minutes, when they're only this age, it's going to take a toll, as you said, destroy their confidence as well, because they're not always going to be able to perform at that high level. They're still young, still, I suppose, mastering their art. And when things go wrong, the media is on them because they're always in the spotlight. And then when you keep playing them, like there's no break for them. So it can destroy a young player.
We've got a decision now where we're kind of in limbo, where Mainoo's just about to sign a new contract. I don't know what Garnacho's contract situation is, but I'm sure he's due an extension or what have you soon to try and tie him down. Ahmad, I think they're going to extend his by a year, but again, he needs a big contract probably coming soon. What Ineos have done, they made a bold decision bringing in all these young players. So Xerxes 23, Yoro, I think 18, Delit's still only 24. All the signings have been like 25 and under, basically.
Yeah.
But what you do with that, and we kind of touched on it before with the striker situation, is there's no experience in the team. Obviously, Johnny Evans and Ericsson have been our best players probably this season, and they're the most experienced out of the lot. But I'm talking about you want regulars who are going to be in your team in a sustainable way, who are going to lead these guys. And I don't think we have enough of that. I don't like Kane, like a Harry Kane in Bayern Munich, who's 30, 31, whatever he is now. England's top scorer, won loads of golden boots in the Prem. He's guaranteed gold, and I think Gary will describe it as guaranteed gold. We need a guaranteed gold in this team. I don't think we have a talisman, and that's the issue.
No, we don't. And we argued that time Harry Kane was there for the taking. I think he would have actually come to United at that, given the current situation, and he would have been worth the money. Like, people talked about injury records with him, but he has a really good injury record as well. And he's guaranteed goals. We have nobody who's guaranteed anything these days. Can you name a single player in the team who you can say is going to stand up and have an 8 out of 10 performance week in, week out? There's no one who has that consistency. I can't remember time Harry Kane ever had a bad run like that. Even when he wasn't scoring goals, he was making them.
Yeah,
I think there was one season he popped up with the most assists as well.
Yeah. He was up there. That's what I mean. You can drop deep and he can still affect the game. If Rashford doesn't score, it feels like he don't really offer you much in a performance. Apart from maybe beating one or two guys, he don't really create anything. We don't have creative wingers. Apart from Ahmad's probably the only one who will look for an attacker. And likewise with Bruno, I think he's had a poor start to the season, and when he's in the mood and the rut that he's in at the minute, the rest of the team feel it as well, because he's essentially looked at as the nucleus in the attack, the guy who connects everything. And if he's having a stinker, that means everyone else is having a stinker, which is why some people were putting in the chat before, maybe you should try a Xerxes in the 10. Maybe you could try an Ericsson in the 10. But because of the midfield that we've got, you have to play Casemiro or Ericsson. That's it. There isn't anyone else at the moment, really. Mount's only coming back from injury. So you have to play that setup, which then leads you to believe against Brentford. I think they're going to look at that, and I think they're going to capitalise on it.
Oh, they will. And I think did they score more goals in one game than we have all season?
Yeah. So I think Mberno's got as many goals this season as we have as a team, or at least close to it, I think. So
that says everything. It really does. I was actually recently looking at his numbers. He's putting up some consistent numbers. He's kind of gone under the radar for a while.
Yeah.
So he's obviously I suppose the players worry about going into this weekend. But you pointed it out, they're going to target our weaknesses, and right now we have that many. We're a wounded animal right now. We are.
Yeah, wounded is a light word, I'd probably say. We are there for the take. It's best time to play United for any team at the minute, I'd say. But I'm getting Mberno's numbers here because I'm curious to know what his stats are, because he's always been one that you look at, and you're having a look at what do you call it? His record in general. I always think I have him in my fantasy team, and I'm like, I take him out. I'm like, why did I take him out? Because he's just scored again. So what we're talking about? Let's say 100 appearances, on average 28 goals, 21 assists, which isn't bad at all. I mean, that's on average a goal or assist a game, basically. Is that right?
Just below.
5? Just below. No, it's just below that, isn't it? Yeah. So decent. But this season, if I can filter that out, let's have a look. 6 goals so far he's got, and Mberno. That's more than all our team. I think we scored 5 goals, haven't we? 3 against Southampton.
Yes.
1 against Fulham, 1 against Brighton. Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, he's actually scored.
Shivvy's after putting a comment into the comment section. He said, "Nick, it's Bueno. I got it there. Not Bernob.
And Bernob. I didn't say Bernob. Oh, Berno. Bueno. Bueno. Jesus
Kinder
Christ.
Bueno. I don't know.
Bueno. That doesn't sound right though. Bueno? Is that how you pronounce it? Bueno?
Bueno?
Is that Spanish for good? Bueno?
Bueno is good, yeah.
Yeah, bueno. Well, yeah, he is good, so maybe it is fitting. Yeah. Bueno. Oh, you're confusing me now. You got me thinking about Kinder Buenos. So I'm getting
Yeah.
proper confused. But thank you for the advice. I'll give it a go. I mean, we called Chive Severe for a year and a half until he turned around and says, "Oh, by the way, lads, my name's Chive," and we were like,
I remember that.
"Sorry, you've been on the channel for a year and a half, and you're only just telling us now that your name's Chive." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay." All right, nice one, Chive. Appreciate that. By the way, we are 6 subscribers off 7,200. The live shows are coming back more regular. I've been mad busy with work and other projects and stuff, but I'm going to stay on it for at least the next couple of weeks and sustain it and live shows and really, really push them. So if you are new to the channel and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet in the bottom right-hand corner, please do. We are just waiting for some news coming out from the press conference, which is out at 1:30, but typically we usually get quotes before it. So when I do the press conference live, or after he's spoken, I always see it coming out 20 minutes before, and I think, oh, I could have just gone live 20 minutes before a thing. Now we're live. Now they're not coming out, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, like honestly, you can't predict it. And sometimes they'll just change the time without even fucking letting anyone know. St. Nolan has been a member for 15 months. Would you believe it? Back in his own channel, love it. United, I'm ready to be hurt again this weekend. Yeah, is that your sense of feelings, Adam? I should say Sam then. With this, do you think what's your score prediction for Brentford?
Oh God, I'd like to think we can do enough, but just given the current stages where we are, I could possibly see a 0-0 in this game, something like that, or a 1-1. I know it's not confident, but my heart's gonna go and say 2-1. But as Sam said, I'm ready to be hurt.
Yeah, ready to be hurt. Do you think he goes if he loses against Brentford? Or do you think he should go? More to the point.
I think he should have been gone by now. What's the point in sacking him after the one game when you've had the last 2 weeks to do it?
Yeah.
Like, so even if he loses, I don't think he's gone. Like, that was the perfect opportunity there. So I don't know what the case is. I don't know what's kind of going through their minds. They had that meeting they did and sacked the person we didn't think they'd sack. I can see why, but I wasn't expecting that. So even if he loses, I don't think we'll see him getting sacked. But I think it takes a lot for the crowd at Old Trafford to get mad, and I think a lot of them are frustrated now, especially if we lose that game at the weekend. You might hear a few boos, even directed towards the manager.
Well, if you look at the Premier League table now, sorry guys, we have to do this. So, we've got Liverpool who were first on 18 points. We've got Brentford who are 11th on 10 points, and Man United are 14th on 8 points. 2 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses, which is our worst start. Ten Hag beat his own record in that. 5 goals scored, only 8 points on the table. And in our last 5 games, we've won 1 game, which was against Southampton, which arguably in the first half, they was all over us, and they could have if they would have scored that penalty. Yeah, I don't know what would have happened. Maybe a capitulation would have happened. But the point is, and as it stands, Tuchel's just gone to England. Who, if he loses to Bournemouth, not Bournemouth, fucking Brentford. Sorry, we'll probably lose to Bournemouth as well. If we lose to Brentford, we go 5 points behind him. Probably drop down to like 16th, 17th. How the fuck can you keep a manager with that record?
You can't. You've seen it with Chelsea and Jose Mourinho. After he won the league, he got sacked the following season, and it was similar to what's happening now, and he went. So there's no way you can keep the manager. Like, you're near the relegation zone at that point. We already are, actually, when you look at it. So there's no reason, like, have we just dropping that low where this is our expectations now? Like, he's outdone what I thought was bad enough last season. I know he managed to he didn't really turn that around. We finished outside the top 4, but he won the cup, and that's the only saving grace that he had. And we were all calling as well. I am guilty as well as saying that, oh no, hold on to him. Yeah. You're hoping that they can build from that positive. And I did feel a bit confident going into the start of the season. How we played against City, I think we should have won the Community Shield. We were unlucky, but this season we haven't seen anything. There's been no direct improvement. There hasn't, and they have backed him. he has been backed. So for me, the change was there. It was an obvious decision, but like the Ineos, they decided not to pull the trigger. So if they pull the trigger after, I suppose, Brentford, if he does lose, you're thinking you just wasted 2 weeks where you could have done it.
Yeah, because I've given I give him the benefit of the doubt because I'm like, look, it's kind of get out of jail card was all the injuries, wasn't it? So you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I understand it. Like, let's see how he gets on. You've had another £200 million spent. You've got a new structure above you, and things are still the exact same. So what else? What else do you want? You know, right? I think I'm not sure the quotes are going to come out from the thing, so I might have to do a separate kind of small video on that, which is no problem whatsoever. And also, it looks like my camera's about to die, so we shall leave it at that. Adam, any final words for the lads before?
Oh God! Well, hopefully we can actually get 3 points. I don't know how many times I've said, "Oh, hopefully it's the start of the season now."
Yeah.
But we're in nearly, I suppose, in November, and we're still saying it. I'm hoping. You see, it's a weird one because I do think the manager should go. I'd never want us to lose in the hope that the manager be sacked, because I have seen people who are supposedly fans hoping that we do lose, that he does get sacked, which for me doesn't make sense. I'll always cheer on and hope that United actually win, no matter what the circumstances are. So I am hoping we can get a win here, and because 3 points, I suppose, looking at the table as you pointed out, we'll go up to 11. 11 could push us, I suppose, to around Spurs level at that point.
Woo! Yeah, exciting. Can't wait for that. By the next time Adam's on the show, he's gonna have a full head of hair that's grey. Due to United, so he's quite literally gonna be Adam is Grey. That's what he's gonna be, the new name on the channel. So Adam, thank you for coming on, mate. Obviously we'll speak in the chat on that. And thank you to everyone who's been watching. Please do smash like on the video for us, subscribe to the channel, and for updates from the press conference, check our Instagram out because Sam will be putting the quotes out and stuff, and you'll have all the information there. So check us out on socials, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one in a bit.